I guess one of the hardest, well, I know it was the hardest thing I ever did in my livestock business. I was really broke, and I still had 2 young girls at home. And a man asked me if I could pull a trailer. I'm not sure. And he said, "Can you pull 2?" Oh, well, I hope so. Yeah. Anyhow, he said, if you go to Conway, Arkansas, for me, he said, there's a livestock sale barn very close. And he said, you can stop and fill the trailers up if you need to. Use them for whatever you want to. And he said, and they have a lot of Brahman bull calves that you can't get for here. So, and at the time I was looking for roping calves. You got more, if you get, or in bulldogged calves, you got a lot better premium for them. So I said, yeah, sure, I could do that. And so I still had the 2 girls at home, and Susie and Luann, or Susie and Lori, no, Susie and Luann. I thought, oh, an adventure, this will be fun. In the middle of July, we take off for Conway, Arkansas. I had a brand new pickup. I mean, the pickup was nice. And, oh my God, I didn't know it got that hot in Arkansas. And it was, I mean, you just melted. It was miserable, miserable, miserable. But anyhow, we got there, and they went to hook up the trailers, and the brakes didn't work on mine, a brand new truck, and nobody had ever tested to see if the trailer brakes worked, and they didn't. But I was gone that far, I had to keep on going. And to get across the Ozarks, with no brakes wasn't one of the smartest things I've done, but anyhow, survived that one. But I went to Conway, Arkansas, or I think it was Conway. It was real close there, anyhow, to the sale barn, and cattle were cheap, I thought. I thought, oh, I'm going to get in trouble again. But anyhow, I loaded the front of the pickup with baby calves, and I had a tarp over it, and I had 2 trailers that I put bigger calves in, and headed for Colorado. And, oh, God, that's a long ways. It is a long ways. But that time, you girls helped me drive some of the way, a little bit, not with the trailers, but at least before. And we made it. And we got back to Arkansas, or back to Colorado. And at that time, it took a week usually for a check to get through to the bank. Whatever they did to it, I loved it. Because I bought all those cattle with a bad, hot check. And got them to the sale and sold them before the check. And made money off of them, thank God. And then he asked me if I'd do it again. And I said, yeah. And I went by myself. You kids were smarter than I was. She said, I ain't going. And so I said, I agreed to go by myself. Oh my God, what a long trip by yourself. It was terrible, let me tell you. And on the way home, I did the same thing, had a truck and trailer full. And my truck quit. A U-joint went out. And I remember I made it to Guyman, Oklahoma. And with all these calves back there bawling. But when I went, I knew I'd be bottle feeding calves. So I'd bring about a bag of food and mix, and stop at a filling station and fill up my big jugs with water to feed the calves on the way.
How were you able to feed them all? I mean,
it was like getting in the middle of a rubber ball.
You did get inside?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
That's the only way you would have to. Oh, my God, Mom.
Yeah, but they were just all in the back of the truck.
Right.
But yeah.
And then to know that you get which one you'd already fed, I guess
yeah.
afterward they got all that
was
stuff all over your mouth so you can know.
But,
oh.
Yeah. Where I broke down, thank God, they were able to work on the truck there and leave it hooked up. And I got my babies fed and drove straight through. That no stopping. I couldn't stop. I thought I was going to die. But then when I got home, my brother Jim called me. What the hell are you doing? I heard you went to Conway, Arkansas again. He said, how dumb are you? He said, you're coming to work for me. I'm like, really? What? He was a foreman of Wadsworth Excavating. He said, you're going to be a truck driver. I'm like, well, I already am. But he meant a big dump truck. And I said, well, okay. I said, well, you going to teach me to drive? And he says, well, you'll learn. He says, go, you got to take a test and you know, a different test to drive a big truck. And he says, you can pass that. I'm like, okay. But I was sure he was going to take me out with the truck, right? But he didn't. I get down there after I got my license. I'm really sharp, huh? And it was a bunch of teenage boys. I'm just barely old, past driving age. And me, for truck drivers. They didn't know any more than I did. And they turned us loose to drive dump trucks full. And we didn't know. I said to Jim, he's on the phone, he's too busy today. I looked to talk at me. And I said, how, Dad, where's the gear? He said, there's a thing on the thing. Or,
on the stick?
yeah, on
the dashboard?
Dashboard, a diagram. It'll show you what gear you should be in. It wasn't an automatic like they've got now. You had to double clutch every time you shifted. But you know, that's my good name. You didn't hurt it a bit. It's as bad, the other's bad. But hey, our first trip out, it was down a little hill on Wadsworth. And I went to stop, and I had no brake. It wouldn't stop. And I finally got through there and got myself stopped. And the truck behind me went right on through, too. And neither one of us had our brakes checked before they sent people out. So anytime I see a dump truck, you better be out of their way, because you don't know if they got brakes or not.
Right.
Yeah. And it's so rotten that companies could get away with that.
Right. Right.
But the truck bought, the other guy that worked with Jim, Jim's supposedly right-hand man, who I hated. I mean, he hated me.
And what was his name?
Carl Bloom.
I remember hearing that name.
Yeah, he didn't want me there at all, because he figured I'd tell Jim all the crap that he did, like not having brakes checked and stuff. And I didn't want to fight with him, so I met him one morning out before we pulled in the gate, and I said, Carl, you're going to talk to me about what's going on here. Well, that just made him madder and meaner. Every day for a while I was going out, I'd have a flat tire on those trucks in traffic. And he was trying to make me look so bad that he thought Jim would get rid of me. Yes, yeah.
What did you do with a flat tire in traffic?
I had to call somebody and sit there, you know, like I wasn't making the company any money.
Right.
So I always had flat tires. Yeah, until one day the owner of the truck company came in and said, I'm sitting there with a flat tire again. And he said, put some new tires on, brand new tires on that truck. And I got brand new tire. Well, that was pretty nice. And I'd gone to the truck mechanic and told him about everybody's brakes, which that made Carl look pretty bad too. But somebody needed to do it.
Yeah, that integrity. Yeah.
So we were going up to Genesee Mountain every day with loads of what do you call it, premix
For cement.
For building roads.
Road base,
Road base, that's what I was trying to say. And that was bad coming down there unless you had brakes and stuff. You know, but anyhow.
That's an important thing.
Yeah, it's pretty important. But the end of my career was I'd gone up there in Genesee Mountain, and it was getting late at the end of the day. And Carl was supposed to stay until everybody got down off that mountain. Because where we were going, we were having to back into really bad places. Where if you went overboard, you were gone. Well, I think that was his plot, was to kill me. I do. And he left. He left me up there. And it was getting dark. and it scared the heck out of me. Because once I looked and I had a wheel hanging over. If it had went all the way, I would have never lived to tell. I just had a bad accident.
Right.
And I drove back, and the farther I got, the madder I got. When I got to the shop, I went in there, Jim was there. I said, "Where's Carl?" He said, "He's in the bathroom." I said, "Where is that?" No, I said, "Where is that son of a bitch?" And I jerked open the bathroom, and I let him have it. He didn't know what to do with me. I quit. I said, "That's it, I quit."
Didn't you have a dump over once working?
Oh yeah, once there. Yeah, while I was working for that company, I took a load up to School of Mines, and there was a ditch right along there, and I got a little bit too close to the ditch. That's another reason Carl didn't like me. Because when I got too close, it just took the ground giveaway, and I ended up upset into the ditch, a water ditch. And I was hurting, but I couldn't let on, you know, I got to be a tough guy.
Oh.
Yeah. But anyhow, when I called Jim and him and Carl come out, and Jim handed Carl a shovel, and he had to shovel the road base off of that truck so they could get it set back up. And I'm just standing there laughing.
No wonder he didn't.
He didn't like me. I don't know why. Oh, jeez. But, so I quit that night. And afterwards, I went over to this little bar